Hello there, you're watching Vnews Bulletin. I'm Vungo presenting you today top stories as usual.
Forum explores investment chances between Vietnam and Sierra Leone. Khánh Hòa heading to a sustainable development of agriculture. And later on, gorgeous orchids in full bloom in Solar Province.
In the face of soaring fuel prices, Minister of Industry and Trade Nguyễn Hồng Diên proposed several measures for stabilizing the market in the long run while fielding queries from full-time legislators on March 16.
As the questions and answer sessions of the National Assembly Standing Committee's ninth sitting, Minister of Industry and Trade Nguyễn Hồng Diên said, to ensure fuel supply and stabilizing the domestic market in the long term, his ministry will keep coordinating with the Ministry of Finance to align petrol and oil prices with global fluctuations as well as domestic supply and demand. The move was aimed at ensuring harmonious interests among stakeholders, namely fuel sellers, businesses using petrol and oil as an input for their operations, and consumers, the minister noted. Earlier, regarding the industry and trade sector, legislators asked about petrol production, import, supply, and price management, among others. Aside from the Minister of Industry and Trade, Deputy Prime Minister Lê Văn Thành and heads of some other ministries will also elaborate related issues.
A Vietnam-Sierra Leone business forum was held on March 16th in Hanoi. The event took place within the framework of the official visit to Vietnam by President Julius Maada Bio.
Participants at the event discussed investment opportunities in agriculture and fisheries of Sierra Leone, cooperation in technology, and measures for bolstering bilateral trade. Vietnam and Sierra Leone have recently recorded encouraging signs in their economic and trade relations. Bilateral trade stood at over $49 million in 2020, surging by over 200% from $17 million in 2018. Participants said businesses of Vietnam and Sierra Leone hold numerous opportunities to invest in each other's country and then increase trading with other nations in the regions. Businesses of the two sides were urged to increase sharing information, seek partnership opportunities, and explore trading chances for products like farm produce and medical supplies, and some agricultural products and minerals.
The regulations state that visitors with negative COVID tests can enjoy quarantine-free travel from day one.
Accordingly, travelers entering Vietnam via air routes have to present proof of negative SARS-CoV-2 tests. People entering via road, sea, and rail will be subject to the same requirements. If arrivals cannot show proof of negative tests, they're required to take a test in the first 20 hours from the time of arrival. If the results are negative, they may travel outside of their place of accommodation with public health measures still in place. In case the results are positive, they must notify health authorities for further instructions. For those who have no negative COVID-19 results prior to entry, the ministry asks them not to take rest stops or contact with other people along the way from the border gate to their place of accommodation. For children under 2 years old, it's unnecessary to take COVID-19 tests. In all cases, visitors are asked to frequently wear masks and disinfect their hands.
The south-central coastal province of Khánh Hòa has moved to develop aquaculture in a more sustainable manner with the application of new technological farming methods.
The Khánh Hòa Department of Agriculture and Rural Development has introduced mechanisms and policies to support farmers involved in aquaculture. The sector has also invested in infrastructure for concentrated farming areas and high technology to encourage farmers to apply new methods in their production.
Investing in this high-density polyethylene case has helped boost productivity compared to urgent cases.
Local farmers are focusing on lobster and fish breeding in key farming areas in Nha Trang City, Cam Ranh City, Ninh Hoa Town, and Van Ninh District. They've also promoted sea snails, oysters, prawns, and seaweed farming to have improved incomes. Aquaculture, however, bears a number of potential risks.
Farmers face many risks and challenges, so we advise they follow recommendations from the fishery sector to cut losses from natural disasters and other factors. We need to expand our markets globally, so stringent requirements on traceability are a must, and we need to maintain a good supply chain.
Khánh Hòa province has also identified investment solutions, capital sources, and consumption markets, and formulated mechanisms and policies for the development of its fisheries sector. It currently has over 250 production farms with an output of more than 6.2 billion seeds and commercial shrimp farming area on more than 2,000 hectares.
The two new generation free trade agreements, namely the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership and the European Union-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement, continue to be the momentum for the increase of Vietnam's seafood exports in the first 2 months of 2022.
According to the General Department of Customs, seafood exports in February saw a breakthrough increase of 62% to $635 million. In the first 2 months of 2022, Vietnam seafood exports raked in $1.5 billion, up 51% over the same period last year. Among others, export to the U.S. market enjoyed an 84% increase to $346 million. A strong growth was also seen in exports to other FTA markets such as Germany, up 140%, Australia, 64%, and Canada, 55%. After the two FTAs came into force, Vietnamese businesses, including those in the seafood sector, have actively taken advantage of them to seek new markets and boost their exports.
Sơn La Province is looking its best at this time of the year with graceful blooms of pristine white band flowers or orchids. Band flowers have been a symbol of the glorious beauty of local Thai ethnic minority women and also remind people about a love story between a woman named Ban and a man named Kum.
Legend had its start. Hum, who was good at farming and hunting, fell in love with Ban, who was skilled at weaving and sang beautifully. However, Ban's father had arranged for her to marry into a rich family. Distraught at the decision, Ban ran to find Hum and, exhausted, collapsed at the foot of a mountain. A strange tree with white flowers grew at the place where she lay, which were later called Ban. Hum, meanwhile, upon hearing the bad news, hurriedly ran to find Ban. He went up and down the mountain before falling down beside the ban tree and turning into a bird. Since then, whenever ban flowers are in full bloom, people always heard birds chirping.
The legend is popular among the Thai ethnic minority people. We are so happy to take photos at this gorgeous site. There is a hill of band flowers in the city square.
The northwestern region is dyed with a marvelous white earring badge, with ban trees now planted in many parks and streets around the locality.
I feel fortunate to have the chance to visit Sơn La at this time. We have taken a lot of photos among this beautiful scene.
Over the past time, Sơn La City has made great efforts in recent years to plant ban trees all around town.
Many people flock to the locality when the flowers are in full bloom. Planting ban trees is not easy at all. It requires a certain knowledge about cultivation techniques.
Many visitors descend upon Sơn La at this time of year to enjoy the Ban Flower Festival. The flowers have become a symbol of this peaceful and hospitable land.
The capital city of Hanoi will reopen pedestrian spaces in downtown Hoàn Kiếm district from March 18th after nearly a year of closure due to the COVID-19 pandemic, according to the Municipal People's Committee.
The move comes after Vietnam resumed tourism activities on March 15. It is expected to have the capital city draw more visitors. The streets around Hoàn Kiếm Lake will be exclusively open for pedestrians from 1900 on Friday until the end of Sunday every week. Meanwhile, the remaining spaces will operate from 1900 to 2400 in 3 last days of every week. The People's Committee of Hoàn Kiếm District will deploy forces to perform COVID-19 prevention and control activities and handle relevant violations. Local residents are advised to stay at home if they show COVID-19 symptoms. Visitors are requested to make health declarations and wash their hands before entering the pedestrian spaces and not to enter the area if they have any COVID-19 symptoms. Organizers of cultural and art events in the spaces are asked to strictly implement COVID-19 control measures.
The central province of Quảng Nam is speeding up efforts to green its tourism sector and contributed to developing it into an economic spearhead that is sustainable and friendly on the environment.
The owner of villa accommodation in Hội An ancient town, Phạm Thị Linh Chi, has directed her staff to recycle and raise their awareness about the significance of reducing plastic waste. Her efforts have paid off, since not only her staff but also the guests have become more responsible in taking care of the environment.
Our guests are enthusiastic about joining our activities to protect the environment. This is a green tourism model that we are trying to develop.
Joining the efforts of local authorities, many restaurants have shifted to rice straws and paper cups, while homestay, villa, and hostel owners have paid due regard to kitchen waste being turned into biofertilizer.
Clear guidelines should be issued so that the tourism community is able to join efforts to build Quảng Nam into a green destination. This will also pave the way to develop successful green tourism products.
Quảng Nam còn có một cái tiềm năng rất lớn về phát triển du lịch.
Based on the criteria for green tourism, we have outlined rigorous standards to develop tourism in tandem with environmental protection and sustainable development.
Many local travel companies have introduced green tourism and responsible tourism products. At least 70 to 100 companies are expected to secure green tourism branding by 2025. Although green tourism is a new concept in Vietnam, Quảng Nam sees that such models must contribute to sustainable development and the protection of cultural and historical values, as well as natural landscapes.
And that's the end of our bulletin. Thank you for being here with us. We hope to see you again soon.